This is the My Valley Notes AI group, and we've got a really exciting presenter here today. I'd like to introduce you to Steph Ritz. Steph is known as, she has many titles, like a word weaver. She helps people write what they meant to say, gets it to come out. She really can draw out the best of people and help them get what's in their head and in their heart onto paper. And I've spent a lot of time with her learning branding and copywriting. So not branding, she does talk about colors and design and all of that, and she's an amazing designer and photographer. In fact, some of the images you see of me are images that Steph took that have really held the test of time. But her special sauce is in the words. Steph has her own publishing company, Ritz Publishing, and I've published a couple of collaboration books with her, and this one was really different, and that's going to be the topic today, is how it was different in terms of the logarithms are always AI. So that's really, that's always been AI, but now how it's being used, what it's being trained to look for really has changed. And so Steph will tell you, I've been bugging her. It's like, can't I post the picture of the book? Can't I say the title of the book? Can't I do this, that, and the other thing? And she's like, it's changed. No, you have to do it differently. So without any further ado, welcome Steph Ritz. Take it away.
Well, hi, thank you so much for having me. This is exciting. I have been following AI as a publisher, not as a consumer. So I've not really played with ChatGPT, or I've done a little bit of image play for Nicole and helping her build some stuff on her website. But she is much more the master of those images. It was just to get an idea. However, I am seeing AI affect Amazon and publishing and SEO and how it all ties together in extreme ways. So I'm Steph Ritz. As Nicole was saying, my publishing company is Ritz Books, and we do stories that change the world. So it's publishing for visionary leaders. Nicole's most recent book is The Future of Sacred Yoga Therapy, and she does have an entire chapter on AI and how it's affecting all of these holistic businesses. So I've developed copywriting for $1 Million Funnels. I've written books with global leaders in every continent that people are on. I have clients. And I've helped people grow their reach into hundreds of thousands. So publisher, designer, and absolutely a tech geek. I started with the concept of an integrated online business platform. So my stepdad passed away while trying to get his autobiography published, and he's a really famous artist. But it was really boring. And so we took what was the autobiography and wrote an entire biography to match, published it as a coffee table book that had all of the art that was in the business positioned into the book, and then built an e-commerce site to tie these together, right? A book is not a book without its platform. You guys might recognize like Life magazine, Scientific American. He was pretty famous in his era. But it's led to not just him where I started, it's been many clients. So Mylene is a client who went from talking to maybe 200 people every 6 months to a program that was capping out at 200,000. Tomas had a documentary that we were working on, the marketing, he got that picked up by Gravitas, which gives him the potential to reach 1 billion homes. And these are just a couple examples of multiple clients who've done the same process with me. And a lot of it is really finding your own voice. So here's what's been happening with AI and Amazon. So back last year in August, there was something called the Maui fires, where within, I think it was a day, I'm not positive how long, but very short window of time, a book of 44 pages was published, and it is known as a book of disinformation and has since been called a political weapon. So this book was curated by news articles about the Maui fires and published instantly. And it was 100% written by AI from not anyone in America. Let's just say that. And instantly it changed how Amazon looks at AI and changed regulation. So about a month later, Amazon became a stakeholder of a company called Anthropic. They are a minor stakeholder, but they promised 4 million at this point, and then that's been rolled out in 2 phases. So the first phase was something called active disclosure and definitions. And the second phase is this AI cloud support and SEO crawling. So here's what I mean by that. Active disclosure, Amazon instantly added this box inside a KDP when you're publishing that says Amazon's collecting information about AI tools and creating content. Did you use AI tools? And then if you ask, what does that mean? It goes into, AI generated content and expresses what that means. So every time you make a change to a cover or to a manuscript, this AI content box re-pops up and you have to actively say yes or no every single time you make any change on the backside, loading fresh covers or loading manuscripts. Before you can even view it, before you can move on, before you can save the page, you have to acknowledge it. Now, Amazon's not telling us what they're going to do with this in big part because they have no clue what they're going to do with it. They don't know if they're going to create it as a separate category, if they're going to stick a sticker on it at some point, if they're going to ban books and covers completely. There's no information yet. It's just too soon and they're still figuring it out, which is a big reason that they have invested in this large company. So when you go into the definitions of what is AI generated content, it really splits it between creating the content yourself, meaning like I use a translator. I use Otter.ai, which is my favorite for taking Zoom calls, translating it into words and scripts, which is considered AI assisted versus AI generated, where you're giving and feeding prompts and it's created for you. And so this has been the trickiest thing for me as a publisher, is to make sure that I know 100% solid, did you use AI generated while you were doing this? And I have to, as the publisher now, have these other checks with my clients to make sure that we are all on the same page for filling this out. So I'm going to go back one slide. Whoops. Let's see if it'll let me. There we go. So if you say, what is AI generated content? It pops up this, and then you go to the guidelines and it gives you these definitions. And these definitions are definitely written where there's room for interpretation. So you kind of have to consider that in the process as well. So here's what I have been seeing as a publisher on Amazon and how this has changed. So at first, there was the immediate disclosure, but that was in March. The books, so I've just published a series of 3 collaboration books, The Art of Sacred Writing, The Future of Sacred Yoga Therapy, and Sacred Spiritual Light Leaders. And I have absolutely seen Amazon changing the backside of publishing. What we've known for a long time is that the title and subtitle are the only official SEO that you get when it comes to book publishing. It's why you can't submit a flat picture to Amazon for your cover. It wants you to submit a PDF where you can read the layers of the text. So AI has to be able to read text off the cover. And if it's flattened, it's not always easy to read. If it's layers, it picks it up instantly. So we've known that. That's where you need to hit your keywords that people are looking for and all of these other pieces. But what's changed is that it's now not just, while it's officially just the title and subtitle, all of the cover text matters. And all of the cover text is being crawled by computers to see what categories we should be in. So the publisher on the backside, I get to put in a handful of keywords and I get to pick 3 different categories to put these books in. But now AI is reading the categories, reading the cover of the book and saying, is this the right place? And I've noticed these categories are shifting as well. Not only did Amazon, as soon as this AI stuff took effect, they changed how they categorized everything on the back end. So the old categories are no longer, and they've restructured the entire thing. But now the categories are shifting based on AI and search terms. So what you pick is only close to what you will become. I'm also seeing the same thing in table of contents. So it's reading the chapter titles and it's reading the authors in collaboration specifically to verify that all of these people have written in the book. And the legal page is the same. So if you're giving credit to an author or to a designer or to someone for writing your introduction, they need to be credited in that legal page. And it's also, AI is starting to check the copyright registrations as well. It's not just checking the ISBN like it used to. It's now going back to where I registered that ISBN and making sure that the registration matches everything that I'm publishing. So it's looking for the book description, the authors, a cover, all of that is now registered with Google and the internet, which then Amazon is coming to speak to Google. And it's doing things like in the past, in order to publish a series, all 3 books had to be published on one account in all formats. And this time, one of the things that changed is that by publishing just the Kindles on one account, it created a series. It created a one-click button for all 3 books in the series. And while the paperback, like Nicole's yoga book, is published on Nicole's Amazon account because we're donating all of those royalties for the paperback to the certifying organization for the yoga therapists. So, but AI went in there where 6 months ago they said, no, if it's in a series, it has to be on the same account. And now, just a couple weeks ago, AI automatically picked up that the SEO on the paperback was identical to the SEO in the Kindle and has linked those for me when before that was not possible. And it was specifically something that was not allowed. But AI has changed that. AI can see that it is the exact same book published in 2 formats and is auto-linking and auto-generating these things, including auto-linking Nicole as an author instead of Nicole having to manually go in and say, I've written this book, add it to my Amazon bookshelf. So things are changing quickly. And one of the things that Nicole was referring to of being like, why won't you let me talk about my book? Why can't I tell the title yet? Is this concept of link verification. So when the Maui fires went on, one of the things that changed instantly is how social media and Amazon play together. And so if you're sharing a book title before the book has been published, before it has been legally registered, before it's on Amazon, Amazon and Google now say that this is false news. It's fake information because it doesn't exist yet. And so there's this process of not algorithming yourself out before the book comes. Whereas before it would be like, I need this following, people get ready, my book's coming, here it is, I'm so excited, it's about to be published. And you'd be holding up the copy where you see the not for sale part yet. But by sharing this, Amazon's saying that the book doesn't exist yet. So what are you driving traffic to if there's nothing there? And it's completely changed how to do book launches and how to share when you have a new book coming up. One of the other big things that I've seen is by Amazon switching their entire cloud to AI generation or AI run, is that now their entire support system is run by AI. So I ran into a couple of issues with like a name not linking and the paperback and Kindle not linking on one of the books. And when I submitted that support ticket, I submitted it with the exact pictures and information. AI was able to fix it for me before the help ticket even got submitted to a person. It was fixed because AI is crawling the help desk, and I filled out those help tickets with the exact information that any human or computer would need to verify that what I was asking was true. And so because if you prepare to talk to AI in a way that is supportive and generative, it will support you in what you're trying to create. But it is changing the landscape of publishing very, very quickly. And a big part of it is making sure that you have the right words. AI only works if you're expressing who you truly are and what you want, as well as then making sure that what you're sharing are the words that someone else is going to be looking for. So the concept of AI crawling and the SEO cloud, it's all this game of writing that converts, where your objective is to convert what you're saying into the words that people are searching for, and then to use them in a way that gets them to click. So, so this idea of conversion and in training AI and talking to SEO and working with the algorithms is really about getting an action. So all of these major social media, Amazon, Google, all of them want someone to take an action, a yes or a no, scroll on past or click something, but you want them to do something, right? And so it's looking at how are you converting readers to students, audience to subscribers, listeners to fans, and everything in that in between. So my number one secret to writing that converts so you can grow your business is integrity is just to write to one person. So even when I was writing, knowing that I was speaking to an AI bot, I was still writing it as if I was speaking to a person, saying, this is what I want done and what I'm looking to have right? Instead of saying, AI, do your thing. By speaking to that one person, AI has already been trained to listen as if it is a person, not as a computer. And so that languaging picks up instantly as well. Another concept to remember is when you're training AI and looking at how this affects your book publishing, the words on your cover, all of that, is to really look at who you're communicating to. So are you speaking to a general audience? Are you speaking to a community or to a tribe? So like my book in this new series that we've just published is The Art of Sacred Writing. And it's specifically about journaling and writing and the process of creating words. Whereas Nicole's, The Future of Sacred Yoga Therapy, is specifically on yoga therapy. But she's speaking to an audience of yoga therapists and people who are interested in yoga and everyone in between, and looking at what is this, how do we move forward with yoga as a concept for integrative and preventative medicine. An effortless way to set yourself up to succeed is to figure out some of your positioning stories for you, your products, your brand, figuring out not just telling AI what it is, but how do you build it into a story so it does humanize it even more. And that is really down to this concept of stories that sell and how you are seeding your offers into your stories instead of just sharing offers. And that is one of the biggest things that we're seeing with books that are being promoted, social media that's being promoted, is where's the human and the person in this, whether or not you're using AI tools to generate it. And that's all that I had in that AI share. So I'm going to stop my screen so I can see the chat again. Tim says, I must mention all of my written information is created by AI. I use it almost exclusively to enhance my communication. AI can be super supportive in enhancing, but it's not the rock, it's not the foundation, right? So it sounds like you've created that foundation and now are using this tool to hyperdrive your voice out into the world, which is phenomenal, right? This morning I woke up to a post that was showing Anthropic, the same company that Amazon is a minority stakeholder in now, is also being funded by Meta and by TikTok. And specifically, the news came out today about Anthropic is breaking the news in the music world. And that is the new channel that they're supporting and moving forward. And one of the reasons that Meta and TikTok are involved is because all of these reels, all of these short little videos mainly have sound. And most of that sound is copywritten. And so they're now investing into how do they create their whole own music platform to auditorily support their own platforms. It's really fascinating how quickly it's changing. But if now Amazon and Meta and TikTok and Google are all having the same conversation with the same AI tools, then doesn't it make sense that you need to match your voices and talk in a way that if you're writing a book, that it's going to make sense on your website and will make sense in social media, and how all of these play together. It's an integrated content platform, no matter what you're doing, if you're in the game of books or in website. And how are you then sharing your, yes, Claude is Anthropic, absolutely. Yep.
I find that fascinating because TikTok and Meta are otherwise arch enemies, but now they're mutual supporters in this same company. But yeah, that's fascinating. And Min has had the same question I asked Steph, because I got a big email. She said she just saw Robin Sharma advertise for his pre-published book all over social media and emails. Did you say that it's not allowed anymore? And
so Amazon has opened up a pre-publishing window. So if you do it from their back end, then you can absolutely do pre-publishing. And it's just a selection of saying yes or no. So from the publisher's standpoint, the minute that pre-publishing is opened on a book, the book is published in my eyes, because that's how it goes on the backside of Amazon. First you hit publish, then you can schedule, but not until you've done your proof and have it approved. And then the minute that you hit publish for pre-schedule, you can't touch it until the day it launches. And what I've noticed is that they don't give you a link for the book. There's nowhere to go. That's one of the main things for marketers is they're like, let me pre-publish. So I get the link and I can queue up my newsletter and pre-write my emails and get my affiliates all ready with their copy to swipe from me, but there's no link. And so you have to wait until the launch day anyway to get that link. Working on individual books, there can be extreme benefit to doing a pre-publication depending on your list size. In collaboration, I've only seen it fail. I hate to say it that way, but I've not seen good things. And I follow a lot of people who are in publishing that are doing large publishing, small scale publishing. But I've seen a couple of books fail. And that's where, like, Nicole and everyone in the current book process, they were capped to 5 days before we were doing the bestseller campaign. We got 5-day window between announcing it and when we need to generate that traffic, right? That's it. We get 5 days. That is what the algorithms say. And that the real push is just trying to get those purchases in a 2-hour window on Amazon. That is your bestseller campaign. So how do you get as many people as you can to purchase in a 2-hour window? Well, that's the pre-publication window that you can pre-queue people up. But Amazon has changing whether, and when they first turned it on, and the first client went through the pre-publication like 3 days after they turned that option on, and none of the people who had registered to pre-purchase were counted in her bestseller campaign. And so I've just not recommended it since then, because they might have fixed it now, but they did not have it straightened out when they first launched that piece. They're trying as hard as they can to catch up and to learn and to change. So I don't mention the books in social media until those books are live and accepted. So once they're up, then absolutely. Like right now, our books are live, but part of not mentioning it is because we're trying to drive traffic in a small window of time for that bestseller campaign. So you can mention it anytime after you have your legal registration and your proof up, but Amazon would prefer for you to wait until you hit that publish button, whether that is publish to pre-sale or publish to immediate release, doesn't matter. They want to see that this book is real before you start marketing it.
Okay, that's a very interesting one, because it's basically like Amazon checking if it's misinformation. Like, that's the background itself behind this. Are they aware of this actually happening, and are they thinking about changing it? Because like fighting misinformation is a big topic that's currently in the world. And of course, this is a method on how you change that, as in, is this actually publicized before you mention this, if you flag it as misinformation? But do you see that this changing in the future, that they give some space for the original author, for example, that they can actually like create the book beforehand?
Yeah, so when the Maui fires went down, the book was specifically as a political weapon. And that book was in the news, in social media, everywhere. They paid so much money to cover the news media that this book was out. And then it turned out that the book was complete disinformation, 100% stolen from news sources that did not have their facts straight, because the fires had just happened and were still actively happening. And instantly, Instagram and Amazon said, nope, and they shut it down. And I started seeing anyone who was announcing their book before the book was live were algorithm out. 1 or 2 people would see that post before the posts would disappear. And I've actually had a couple of clients, it just happened maybe 2 weeks ago, where she started sharing her book before it was time. Now her book's algorithm out. And every time she posts a picture of herself or her book, the posts disappear from her accounts, because she posted before it existed. And now it's banned. She's lost her algorithms to ever share about her book. It's a very serious game. If you're sharing a book that doesn't exist, Instagram says this is fake news, and now you're going to get docked. Whether or not they change it in the future, I don't know. But now that it's being used as a political weapon, they had to change instantly. And then they invested $4 million to figure out what they're going to do about it. But those blocks went into place instantly, and they're still in place now. When it comes to links or courses or programs, I will not send a book to proof until I have verified that every link is active. Because even in the proofing phase of uploading that, they're checking to make sure that these links are real, that there's something on the other page, that there's not a bait and switch. So they don't want you to put a link in that's going to link to link. I often put ritzbooks.com/whatever is the same as stephritz.com/whatever. They'll go to the same page, it doesn't matter. But my actual website is on stephritz.com. So in my book, if I'm posting only Ritz Books links, then it's showing that there's a trap, right? That there's these layers in between. At the same time, there's differences when you are doing affiliate linking in your book, and knowing that it's going, it's a shortened link to share forward, but then you have to have that affiliate disclosure inside of your legal page to show that it is an affiliate piece. When it's your program that you're launching, if you're launching it and there's nothing there, then you're driving traffic to something that doesn't exist and it's still considered fake news. So it has to exist. It has to be verifiable by a computer that something exists before you start sharing in social media. It's a lot of what these AI organizations are doing. So the AI is creating, like Anthropic has their own regulations for what's considered allowed, approved, and same with any of these other AIs. It's all inside of their systems and algorithms and how they're communicating. So I don't know personally, like a person who's specializing in figuring out what is and what isn't. I'm just sharing what I've seen happening for my clients with their programs, their books, their launches.
What would be a pre-publishing strategy that you could do? I know I did that, and Michael actually, he saw it like a couple of things like, I have a book coming out, I just, not mentioning the title. So what are your thoughts on that stuff?
Yeah, so my absolute favorite launch strategy for books is to do Zoom party, to get people onto a Zoom call to celebrate with you that this book has come out. So you can read from your book. If it's a workbook, you can do a writing exercise out of it. But the idea is, how do you gather people to make a purchase in a 2-hour window? So if you're inviting people to a party and then at the party saying, can you buy now? So I send out invitations that say, my new book's live, but wait, don't buy it yet. Can you come to my party and let's turn this into a movement? Because the more people that buy my book on this day at this specific time, the more likely Amazon is to market this book for us. And when we're already working in collaboration, trying to acknowledge ways in which the world can be better and that we're all supporting it, doesn't it make sense to then work as a community to raise this book in the rankings? Book parties are the best way that I've seen to just gather people and create that movement behind you.
Do you offer the service where you support other people with like reviewing the books and strategy and walking them through the whole process until the book out in the market? Do you offer that kind of services?
I do. I offer something that I call hybrid publishing. So I am a ghostwriter by trade. That's where I started. After I did my first book, I ghost wrote until I decided that I wanted to move everything online, and then started creating these programs. And then the editing process too. So to walk from an idea all the way through publishing is something that I support in. The trickier part is if you already have a book launched and you want to do a bestseller, because a huge part of the bestseller campaign is going back to that list that I created earlier and shared with you, where you have to make sure that your title and subtitle are readable text layers on top of imagery. Same with your back cover, like to do all that setup. And then if you know what you know inside of the manuscript, it's coding. If you code your manuscript like a website, Amazon loves you, and because it can read everything, because it's computer reading. And so these are all some of the things that I do. And in that hybrid publishing, I publish it on your Amazon, not mine. So I'm just walking you through it. And I'll register your legal for you, but then it's published on your Amazon. So you maintain all of the royalties, you maintain the control if you want to do edits later, all of that stays on your account. So you set the pricing, all of that jazz. steffritz.com/publishing. And there's a lighter version and a heavier version.
Using AIs and tools to perfect the English, like making it not a translated book, but like a natural kind of flow.
Even though AI has done those translations and you're cleaning them up, Amazon still says that's AI generated content. No matter how much cleanup you do, if it was originally created by AI, it is still AI, including translations.
Oh yeah, it's originally in Vietnamese. He wrote it himself, but if we use AI to do the translation, then it's considered as AI product, right?
It's AI generated content, not AI assisted. Yes. So then you would have to say, yes, this is AI generated in that back end. Yeah.
That's pretty tough though. So you're like forcing us, we have to pay for humans to do the translation when it's costing huge.
Well, right now they're not, Amazon isn't doing anything besides collecting information. So we don't know what will happen in the future. Maybe they'll just have an AI category of where these books are. But from readers, there's been extreme feedback of, I need to know if I'm reading a real book or if I'm reading something that has been AI generated. And so they're just asking for disclosure. There's no penalty to doing AI as far as I'm aware at this point. It's just collecting information.
Okay, good.
What they do with it later, we'll find out, so. But the thing is, I don't think they know what they're going to do with it. This has been wonderful. And